First things first, this student needs to be dealt with.
Jordan Green-Ellis.
Jordan Green-Ellis.
Mr. Jordan Green-Ellis.
Mr. Green-Ellis.
Jordan Green-Ellis.
This episode is brought to you by Caps and Gowns University. They have an amazing debt-free degree bootcamp coming up. They've helped numerous students all around the country decrease and eliminate student loan debt and get a degree with no debt. People say college is a scam, but not if you do it the right way. The right way is to prepare for the financial obligations that come along with getting that degree. Sign up for the bootcamp in the link in the description and be well on your way to getting that debt-free degree. All right, y'all, pardon me if I look a little dusty, if I look a little sweaty. It's because I am. I needed to get my video in for this week, okay? If you don't know, we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We've just broken the 300 mark. And we broke the 300 mark with a, we broke the 300 mark with last week's videos, but it shot up way over 300 from a video that I posted yesterday. And there's a bit of a mixed response with that video, which we'll take a look at later. But today's topic is all about my educators. Shout out to every single educator in the country, around the world, that's dedicated to helping somebody else's baby be better. I just want to go ahead and say this, put this on the record. I do not tolerate disrespect. Can I say? I don't tolerate disrespect for me and for those that I love. But especially, I do not tolerate disrespect for educators, towards educators, okay? I'm not saying, well, let me not even go down that rabbit hole. Let me make first things first. I don't tolerate disrespect in any capacity, but especially for educators, okay? If you know me, if you know my story, you know education is near and dear to my heart. I literally come from and still am in an education family. And I've seen way more than the average man as it pertains to the role of an educator. And so I digress. Maybe I'll tell more stories another day. But I wanted to take a look at this recent story that broke out, I think maybe like 2 or so weeks ago, where a student, a high school student, I've seen speculation that it was in North Carolina. Recently I've seen something that it was in California. I don't know where it was, but I know that it was a student who literally, let's watch. I want you to be the judge.
I don't want it. Hey, go back. You got slapped. Please go back. No soft man. Do I look like a hair? What's the one still sitting there? I don't want it. I don't want it.
I'm about to stop it soon. I just want, okay. All right. So obviously you see what's going on. And here's the problem. The problem is that someone will comment on a video like this and say, well, you don't know what happened. You don't know what the teacher did. It doesn't matter what the teacher did. It doesn't matter what the teacher did. What we see is the student assaulting the teacher. If the teacher did anything that warranted that assault, then it can be handled by the necessary powers. It's not up to the student to rectify. I would tell my children this, and I've told every single student that I've had the opportunity to mentor, that I call my own. You never, ever, ever defend yourself in that regard. If there is an ought between you and an authority figure in your school, you allow your parents or guardians to figure that out for you. This is never the way. The unfortunate thing about this situation and situations like this is that, number one, it happens way too often. It happens way too often, and in my experience, personal experience, I've never been assaulted, but I know, and I've counseled, and I've personally heard of stories, firsthand accounts of students being assaulted, of teachers being assaulted by students. This should never happen. The classroom is not an environment for this type of behavior. Before I address Well, let's go this way. First things first. This student needs to be dealt with. I don't have any pretty way to say it. He needs to be dealt with. And the reason why he needs to be dealt with is that clearly he has, assuming that this is a young man, clearly he has an understanding of how conflict should be handled. From what it seems, there is from what it seems as to how he handled the situation, it seems as though he has a way that he deems as appropriate to handle situations like this. If he is not dealt with, somebody's going to deal with him. That's why he needs to be dealt with from a legal standpoint. That's what I mean when I say dealt with. I'm not talking about the streets or anything like that. He needs to be dealt with from a legal standpoint, because if he doesn't get dealt with from a legal standpoint, the streets are going to deal with him. I'm not saying that, he's from a particular background or neighborhood. It doesn't matter. When you think like this and you carry out actions like this, listen, it only leads to one place. I've seen it. I've seen it happen just this week, just yesterday. Just yesterday, I heard of a student that I had the opportunity to teach in the 6th grade. I won't even divulge too much information just because, anyway, I just heard of a student that I used to teach get put in cuffs, and I'm glad he did. I'm glad he did get put in cuffs, because it's going to save his life. It's going to save his life. This young man that slapped this teacher multiple times needs to be dealt with from a legal standpoint. And I don't care who has anything to say about it. If you agree, you can disagree. That's perfectly fine, right? But if he doesn't learn in that way, unfortunately, he's going to learn in another way. And sometimes learning in another way may be more costly. I've seen it happen. So unfortunately, he does have to learn this way. But I would personally much rather him learn this way than have to learn by losing his life. Because here's the thing. Here's one thing that's often misunderstood about education is that, yes, the teachers have a responsibility. Y'all think teachers are babysitters. They're not. They are professionals. And furthermore, they are human beings, okay? You're going to slap the wrong teacher one day. Yup. Your baby going to slap the wrong teacher one day, and they're going to get handled. And then it's going to be, oh, well, he shouldn't, she shouldn't. Now you're going to act like they're professional and how they should be professional in dealing with students. No. You can't play both sides of the fence. Teach your children how to be respectful. Yeah. Maybe the parents need to do a better job of communicating and defending your babies when they are in confrontation with authority. Maybe that's the case. But unfortunately, one day it's going to happen. Somebody's going to smack the wrong teacher. And I'm not saying that I want this to happen. I'm not saying that this should happen. I'm saying that teachers are human beings, and they're going to have a human response. This teacher's response is not normal. This student knew to slap this teacher. And when I say this student knew to slap this teacher, what I mean is that obviously this student did not think that the teacher would retaliate in such a way. I guarantee that student who slapped that teacher ain't going to go out on nobody's corner and slap somebody like that. He's not even in a defensive stance. He's not even like, all right, I'm doing too much. Okay, so that's first things first. The student needs to be dealt with from a legal standpoint. I don't care, what the argument is. If he don't learn, somebody going to teach him, and it may cost him his life. Now, for my educators that are watching this video, I need to put y'all on guard. All right? You don't have to watch the video again, because this could very much so be traumatizing. I know teachers that are petrified to go and deal with some students, even on an elementary level. Well, they only teach elementary. No. A teacher was shot twice by a 6-year-old in Virginia about a year or so ago. Shot twice. Okay? So don't make any distinctions between age. Okay? Teachers are literally putting their lives on the line on a daily basis. Okay? So now to the teachers. First and foremost, especially if you're in an environment that is a bit, rather can be a little bit confrontational, or you get into a situation like this, right? To where you're not being bombarded. Never get into a power struggle. Never get into a power struggle in your classroom, okay? My first teaching experience, I taught high school, and I was 21 years old, and most of the students that I taught were nearly my age, okay? I'm 30 years old. This was many years ago, and I still have a baby face, okay? They did not respect me until I built a rapport with them. And then there were still some moments that I had to establish myself in the classroom as the one that they need to listen to. And I say that relative and not trying to sound like a dictator, but I mean to establish myself as the teacher, okay? Not as a friend, okay? Not as the one who's cool. They eventually knew that I was, but there was a line, okay? Whenever there was conflict, whenever there was disagreement, and I use those terms loosely, I'm not saying real conflict. I'm saying in situations where a student and I did not see eye to eye, never get into a power struggle, okay? Number one. Number two, you got to take the stage away. This student is performing for his class. This student is performing for his class. He don't want to look like a sucker. And unfortunately, the teacher is the one who he has to assert himself over, okay? This student obviously needs some counseling. He obviously needs some anger management, right? Because this is not the way to handle any type of conflict. I don't know what happened before, but this is obviously not the way, okay? Now, from the teacher standpoint, okay, you got to take the stage away. Remove this student. Remove this student, okay? Whenever I had to have tough conversations with students, never raised my voice, and I always stepped in the hallway. We can't have a discourse that's going to be candid, a candid discourse or a conflicting discourse in front of an audience. The students are going to perform if you give them a stage, especially students like this. They're going to perform. So take the stage away, step outside the classroom, send them to the office, okay? But if you feel it getting a little bit more tense, like what this was, if he or she is saying, you want me to slap you again, any type of threatening language, do not engage. Protect yourself. Do not engage. Protect yourself. I'm not saying to physically assault or put your hands on the student at all. I'm saying remove yourself, okay? If the student does assault you, I think that it is permissible for you to block, okay? For you to protect yourself, okay? So protect yourself. Do not stand there while the temperature is continuously rising. Don't go back and forth with them. That is a grave mistake. And I'm not saying it as if, this should be a normal part of your policies and procedures. But I'm saying in the instance like this, please protect yourself, okay? Don't go back and forth. Don't allow them to get that close to you. Remove yourself. Call for help. Do whatever you got to do, because this should never, ever, ever happen, okay? This should never, ever happen. I really feel bad for this teacher because it definitely doesn't need to be this way. And I sincerely hope. I did see some verbiage on the back end of some media outlets that said he was being charged. The student was being charged, but I don't know, man. I just think that, things like this do not need to happen. They do not need to happen. Teachers, you are invaluable, okay? There are literally there's no other group on the planet that is like you. Every single person that you've ever met has been impacted in some degree by a teacher, okay? I want you guys to watch this quick clip. It's from a recent engagement that I had in Washington, D.C., where I shared that clip that sparked this conversation this week. I want you to take a look at it. And I want you to give me your thoughts below. My name is Jordan Green-Ellis. Let's check out that video and we'll be right back.
K-12 teacher, higher ed, right? So I've been on both sides, a student and on the side of the faculty and staff. You have no idea how challenging their job is. I promise you, I'm not trying to tell you this to impress you. I'm trying to impress a point upon you. You may even come to class sometimes and feel like, oh, Mr. and Miss So-and-so don't like me. They don't like you. Listen, they love you. How do you know? Somebody asked me how. That means say it. Somebody asked me how. Because they show up every day for you. And when somebody loves you, they may not say it all the time. Sure, they could. But I don't know about you or where you're from, but I'd rather see the love. I'd rather be able to feel it. I'd rather be able to experience it. And so because they show up every day, understand that they are committed to you. Not just graduating high school. This ain't high school no more. This new student orientation.
In closing, I want to say this one thing because I know there will be some people who are not educators that will watch this video. I'm not saying that teachers always get it right. They're human beings. But what I am saying is that they are making a diligent sacrifice every single day by showing up to teach your babies. In fact, they spend more time with them than you do. I know it's a hard pill to swallow, but it's the reality. So please, 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 the next time that you think that it is permissible to disrespect, to cross the line in any regard, your child's educator, please think twice about it because they have the greatest impact and influence over your child outside of social media and other things, okay? So I want you to start pouring into them. Show some respect. Ask questions. Get engaged. Get involved. Show some support for them. I know you're thinking, well, it's their job. That's what they're supposed to do. Yes, it is their job, but no other professional on the planet has to deal with 40 clients at one time.